have this in front of you, so you don't get to claim I can't see it up there, okay? It's right in front of you. We're going to work with making frequency tables today, first of all. And then from that frequency table, we'll be able to make this nice display called a histogram. That will be the type of graph that we're going to make today. So in the example done for you at the top of the notes, what is that, all those data pieces, that 5, that 12, that 22, that 15, what are they all representing? Go ahead and look on your papers and read. What is 5, 12, 22? The ages of people. And what are these people doing? Visiting a water park, okay? So ages of people visiting a water park, and we have somebody who's 5 years old, 12 years old, 22 years old. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take that data and we're going to make a frequency table with it. In other words, if I said to you, you know, how many kids were there? How many teenagers were there? How many adults were there? If we make this into a frequency table, we could show, well, you know what, this is how many in that age group were there. And so that frequency would be how many of them. And then the interval would be, well, from what age to what age? Okay, so were there lots of little kids at this water park? Were there lots more adults at this water park? Was it about equal? You know, what was going on, actually? So step one, this is probably one of the most important steps and hardest steps. So you need to be tuned in here. You have to figure out the width of the interval. Because in a frequency table and on a histogram, every interval has to be the same length. Think of it as line. So if I say to you, I want you to divide the numbers from 1 to 80 into equal intervals. Somebody give me some examples of a length of an interval we could have, and then we could make all of them equal and include all those numbers from 1 through 80. So I want you to take problem numbers. Let's pretend I assigned the first 80 problems on a page for homework. Would you love me? 1 through 80. And I say, I want you to break those into chunks. I want you to break those into intervals. Because you guys are complaining and you say, Mrs. LeGrand, that is not even fair to make us do 80 problems for tomorrow. So I say, okay, fine. You make them into some intervals. You make them into some chunks, and we'll do the first interval, do tomorrow. The next interval, do the next day. The next interval, do the next day. And you'll be like, woohoo! Okay, now give me an interval of problems you want to do. 11 of them. Okay? I want equal intervals, so let's see if this will work. So we're going to do 11 problems for the first day for homework, and then we're going to do 11 problems for the next day. How many have we done so far? 22. And then the next day we're going to do another 11. So how many have we done? 33. Keep going with me. 44, 55, 66, 77. But we still have how many problems left to do? 3. Are there going to be equal number of problems in that last interval? No, so I'm not going to let you do it, because I'm going to be like, nope, if you can't do an equal interval of problems, you got to do all 80 of them. Sorry.
14.
Cam? 20. Okay, so Cam says we're going to do 20. Then the next day we have to do 20. So now we've done, and the next day we do 20, now we've done 60, and the next day we do 20, and now we've done 80. Are those equal chunks? Are those equal intervals?
That's a lot of points.
So, well, Cam, you know, he came up with it, so that's how it's going to be. 20 problems each day for 4 days. Is that the only one, though? You know, Schmarky's whining. He doesn't want to do that many. So 8. Oh, would 8 work?
Yeah.
How many days would it take you to do the homework? 10. 80 divided by 8 is 10. Oh, you like that better, don't you? 14. 14? Is 80 divisible by 14? What do you think? Go ahead and try it. Is 80 divisible by 14? No?
9.
So could that be an interval?
No.
Okay. 10? Is 80 divisible by 10? How many intervals would we have? 8. So you're getting the drift of what I'm talking about when I'm saying I want you to divide them into intervals. Okay? So that's what's going on here in step 1. Find the difference between the greatest and the least values. Well, in ours, it was 80 and 1. So 80 take away 1 is 79, and add 1 for both, because there's 2 ends. There's a problem at both ends. We have 80 problems to do. Look at what you look at the list and you say, what's the smallest value on the list? Apparently they did the work for us, they say it's 5. Do you agree? Is 5 the youngest age in that list?
Yeah.
And they say the oldest person in that list is 34. So we have a span of how many years going on? 29. Okay. So then what basically we have to do is we have to try and figure out, well, how could we get an interval that would work for a span of 29 years? But here's the deal. What we really could do is we could also just add 1 to 29 because there's an age at this end and there's an age at that end. So we have to account for that. Remember when I assigned homework and I assigned 5 through 20? Is it really 15 problems? No, it's 16 problems. Because 20 take away 5 is 15. And then you got to count for that 1 at the other end, it's 16. So this is the same thing. We could add 1 and we end up with 30. Okay, but basically in this example what they did is they left it as 29 and kind of played around like we were just doing with that 80 problems. If the width of the interval is 10, how many times is 10 going to 29? 2.9 times. That would only make about 3 intervals. That's too few. That's not a good histogram or a good frequency table. What if you make the interval 3? Well then 29 divided by 3, that'd be approximately 10 intervals. That's too many. That's a busy histogram. If you make it 5, then it's close to 6, or in fact if we add that 1 to it, 30 divided by 5 is exactly 6, right? Then we would have 6 intervals. You know what, that's kind of good, that's a good choice. Kind of like if you guys, I'm surprised somebody didn't say this. I want to do 2 problems, homework, Mrs. Grant. And then 2 the next day. And 2 the next day. How many days would it take? 40 days. Do you think that would be, think I would go for that? No. 40 days to do 80 problems? Not going to happen. So we got to pick good intervals, okay? So notice, after we decide that the intervals are going to be 5 years long, if you're age 5 to age 9, is that a span of 5 years? 5-year-olds?
Yes.
6-year-olds?
Yes.
7-year-olds? 8-year-olds? 9-year-olds? 5 ages, right? Okay, what would the next interval start at then? 10. 10, 11, 12, 13? 14. That one would have to end at 14. Where would the next one start? 15. And where would it end? 19. Notice, it looks like it's only going up by 4. But it's really going up, there's really actually 5 in there, isn't there? Okay. So all of those things are important, is that we know how to set up those intervals, and then where do we get the frequency from? Where did that frequency come from? So it said if the visitors were age 5 to 9, the frequency was 3. What are they talking about? Where'd they get that 3? Are you know? There's 3 ages in that list, in that interval. So let's go find them. They are 5, what's another one? 7, and 9. Those are the only 3 in that interval. So the frequency is 3. We're not saying they're 3 years old. We're not saying they wish they were 3 years old. We're saying there were 3 of them in that age category, in that interval. Okay? What if there weren't any? What would we put for frequency? 0. We would still have to account for that interval, because just like the stems, we don't leave one out. Once we decide what the intervals are going to be, even if there's nothing in that interval, we would say, I got to account for it. Okay? So this is called continuous data. So when we have continuous data, notice what we do with the this looks like a bar graph, doesn't it? Is that what it looks like? So if you call that a bar graph, you would be wrong. Why? Because bar graphs have spaces between the bars. When there are no spaces between the bars, that means there's continuous data going on. In other words, it goes from age 5 all the way through age what? 34 with no gaps. There's no gaps in there. We're accounting for everything. So when it's continuous, we have the bars right next to each other, and now instead of being called a bar graph, it's called a histogram. Okay? So here's another thing that's really important. We have to make our bars the same width. They represent the same number of ages, so every bar has to be the same width. be like, well, you know what? I'm running out of room, so I'm gonna make the last two skinnier. No, can't do that. You gotta erase and start over because you didn't make a good choice. Okay, let's go practice together. The estimated miles per gallon for selected cars are shown in the table. I see a 44 in there, I want that one.
And
Use the data to make a frequency table with intervals, then make a histogram. Okay, step one. This is how we'll show our work. Step one. Oopsie, I don't need a punctuation mark there. Step one, we have to find the distance of our interval, don't we? So what's the smallest?
15.
15. What's the largest in here? 44. Shamarky's already scoped it out for us. Do we agree with him? Yeah. 44 is the largest. That's the one, the vehicle I want. And 15 is the smallest number of miles per gallon. Okay. So what does that equal?
29.
29. Well, looky there. 29. What we're gonna make this. We're gonna add 1. Okay. So what's 29 plus 1?
30.
That equals 30 because remember, we got to count for the 44 at one end and the 15 at the other end, so we add that 1. So we have 30 actual, different miles per gallon we want to represent. Okay, so then in this next step, or we're still in step 1, what do we have to do next? We have to decide how long. This is the range. This isn't how many intervals we're going to have. So we're going to decide how many intervals we should divide that into.
6.
6? Why 6, Shamarky? Because 30 is divisible by 6? Okay, that's a good choice. Okay, let's try it. 30 divided by 6 equals 5, so there'd be 5 intervals. Is that what you're saying, then? Okay, it's 5 intervals. You guys think that's acceptable? 5 intervals? Yeah. Yeah? Okay.
10. Yeah.
Well, it's divisible by 10. 30 is divisible by 10, but then there'd only be how many intervals? 3. I think that's good. That would be good representation. Nah, Trey?
What if we divide by 5?
So we could divide by 5, and then we'd have 6 intervals. So we have some choices here, don't we? Well, I'm going to guess that since the teacher already made the table here, how many intervals do you think she wants you to have? 6. So we're going to take 30 divided by 5, because it just so happens that 30 divided by 5 gives us 6 intervals. Okay, if we have, so now we've decided there are going to be 6 intervals. The first interval has to start at what?
5.
No.
15.
15. Has to start at 15. Okay, but if we have 6 intervals, how much each interval, let's write this in your notes, please. Each interval is 5 miles per gallon. In other words, a range of 5 miles per gallon, because we divide it by 5. So each interval represents a distance of 5 miles per gallon. So, at this vehicle that gets 15 miles per gallon, we need it to have a range of 5. So how far will we go?
20.
20, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're only going to go to 19. Okay, so do that with me. Make sure that you agree with me. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 5.
So do you count 15 too?
So you have to count 15, yes. So that's where that plus 1 comes in. You just got to count both ends. So 19 take away 15 is 4. 19 take away 15 is 4, but remember we got to add 1 to the end. I know it's confusing. Trey?
What if we don't, what if we went back and we never added the 1 to the 29? Would we still have to add 1 here?
Well, if you don't add 1 to 29, then you would have to say 29 is not going to be divisible by anything except itself and 1. And we're not going to make just 1 interval. So we'd have to go with something it would be close to. So then we would say, okay, 29 is close to 30 or 28. Work either direction, I guess. And then you could work with it that way. But just add 1. Help me, trust me that it'll work better if you add 1 because you'll account for both ends of it, okay? what would the next interval be? Where's it gonna start at?
20,
20, it doesn't have to start at 19, we already included 19. And it's gonna end at
24,
24.
25 through 29.
25 through 29. Notice it's really only looks like it's only going up by 4, but it's really
5.
5. If you count them on your fingers, it's really 5. Go ahead and finish filling in the rest of that table rather than just finish filling in the rest of those intervals. And hopefully it will include our highest amount, which is 44. Okay, so here are the things you need to look for before you even move on. You've decided your intervals. You're going to decide, would my lowest amount and my highest amount be accounted for? Okay, because everything else in between, of course, will be. So you got to make sure your lowest amount and your highest amount are accounted for in the table. 15 is accounted for in the first interval. 44 is accounted for in the last interval. So we're good there. Are all my intervals the same length, the same distance?
Yeah.
Okay, they're all the same distance, so we're good. Now we can start finding the frequency. So now we're going to go to our table. We're going to find how many times the numbers 15 to 19, anything in that range shows up. So I would, if I were you, just maybe start crossing them out, and then you can count. Might not want to use the same mark every time because you get confused. How many did you get? What's the frequency?
4.
4?
No, 5.
Yeah, I got 5. Anybody get more than 5? Okay, so what are we going to put here?
5.
5. There are 5 cars in that range, in that interval, that get 15 to 19 miles per gallon. That's how many times it happened. Okay, now, when you're doing the next one, we're looking for 20 through 24. I wouldn't use slash marks, you use going the opposite direction, or use circles, use boxes, use some other different type of a mark. Okay? So 20 to 24, go see how many there are.
7, 8.
How many did you get? 8? Anybody get more than 8? Okay, I got 8. So find 8 of them. Go ahead and finish filling out the rest of the table now. You know how, so go ahead and finish. We're making our frequency table right now. Maybe I could use a different color to help you find some of these. Maybe that would help you guys. then when you think you're done, here's what you should do. Count how many were in the table. Well, let's do multiplication to do that. It's a what by what kind of table. How many rows by how many columns?
5 times 7.
5 times 7. So there's 35 pieces of data. So what should happen in our frequency column? You better add up to 35. So make sure your frequencies add up to 35. Don't leave anything out. Okay, I'm going to hand out protractors, but we're not really going to draw angles or anything. We're not going to do that. So we're measure angles. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this, the straight edge side of it, we're going to use to make our intervals. Okay? And we have to do some measuring. So we're going to measure in millimeters. I've already chosen one what it's going to be. Okay? So we have 6 intervals to make. So the good thing to, the wise thing to do is to kind of like get it figured out before you start drawing how long each of them should be, so you don't have that problem happen where you've made 4 intervals, and then you discover you don't have enough room left for the 2 intervals at the end, and remember you can't make them a different length. They got to be the same length. So I'm telling you that I've already figured it out for us. 8 millimeters is a good width for our interval. Now, we don't start right here in the corner because we don't start at 0 miles per gallon, so we don't really want to start in that corner. So what you're going to do is just make a little tick mark really close to the corner. Make a little tick mark close to the corner, and then with your, these are inches, Laverne. Okay. I thought they were metric on the edge. I didn't take time to look at them close enough. Okay, so I will make a decision here about, I'll imagine how many inches 8 millimeters will actually be. Okay, so you can make them 3/8 of an inch. Do you know where the 3/8 mark is? 3/8. Okay, so there's some marks that you guys should, you know what we should know? We should know this. So if you start at 0, the next mark, and then 1 more over, that's 1/8. And then another 2 little marks over, that's 2/8. And then another 2 little marks over, that's 3/8. So altogether, it's 6 of those little marks from 0 on its way over to 1. Okay? So make tick marks. So basically what I'm saying then is make tick marks measuring 3/8 inches apart. 3/8 of an inch apart. And so that you're going to be able to have nice, equal intervals. Okay? Just make the tick marks for right now. That's all you should be doing.
So every 6th.
Okay, well, I don't know if you could necessarily, yes, you should be able to go every 6. What am I talking about? They're equal. Yes, you should be able to go every 6.
Nope, every 6th line.
Just every sixth mark on the bottom of it. You got it. Those are 3/8. Those are 3/8. Okay. Did you make the last one so you know what you can? You need, so basically what you need then is you need 7 tick marks to make 6 intervals. You need a beginning and an end. This is just like the problems, you know. So you need 7 tick marks to make 6 intervals. I got mine a little close, so I'm just going, because I'm not going to really measure mine, just change them. Okay, now, what I want you to do, before we even move on here, what I want you to do next is I want you underneath each of those, between the first 2 tick marks, I want you to label that range. So that this is going to be the 15, you're going to have to do it sideways like this probably, 15 to 19. The mileage that they get in that first interval is, these are the ones that got between 15 and 19.
And don't be afraid to move your paper sideways.
Yeah, you can turn it. I can't turn my smartboard, but you guys can turn your paper. So label each interval that we came up with. So all of them should be labeled.
Not gonna be okay.
And then the next thing you would do is now you're going to make those bars the height of the frequency. So the first one has a frequency of 5. So the 2 tick marks surrounding 15 to 19, we're going to draw vertical line segments up to the 5 on the horizontal. So we're going to take this one off. Our bars show the frequency. Our bars show the frequency.
Here's
And then you shade nicely your bar.
Some people are writing
Your
their.
bars are going to be back to back, no gaps between your bars.
Some people are writing
No
their.
gaps between your bars.
Some people are writing their numbers to the side.
Oh, no, they need to be
You're
underneath the bar.
Right in the middle.
Yep, right in the middle, underneath the bar.
And you don't have to play mind games with yourself later on and decide which one it is.
No space between these bars, It's a histogram, there's no gaps. We go from 19 right to 20, so there's no gaps. And we make the bars as high as the frequency is. Oopsie, okay.
Oh, I touched something.
Undo, drag and drop, yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. I did the first 2, that's all I'm doing. It's way too much work for me on the smart board. You guys do it. And then shade in your bars. Shade them in, make it pretty. No gaps between your bars. Make sure every interval is labeled down below the bar. Show the reader that there were 5 of what, there were 8 of what.
So tomorrow, during the stamping time, the numbers need to be like in the middle of the bar, otherwise I'm not gonna stamp it.
These gotta be friendly looking for us. They gotta top us.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes, I will. It's either yes or no.
So how many bars should be on your graph when you're all done? 6. Should there be any gaps between them? Any white space between them? No. So it should look like this, like kind of like a cool geometric figure of some sort with no white space in between. Okay.
So we just.
If and when you are done and you keep those notes out so I can see them, you can come up and get your homework from me.
Do you have to see?
Yeah, I want to see them. Let me see that. Go ahead, bring them up. I like what one did. You brought it up. That was good. Quick glance. So if somebody overrides me and says, that isn't good enough, you have to redo and use a straight edge for this. Oh, there's not straight edges being used by some of you. This is not acceptable.